Hello, hello, hello. I'm Jessica Yvonne, your book bae, coming on with a quick book chat today. I hope this video finds you well. So I just wrapped up the book Summer on Highland Beach by Sunny Hostin. This is a part of her 3-book series. She has a summer series. I think the first one was, I don't remember. Let me see if it's in the back of the book. Okay, the first one was Summer on the Bluffs, which that beach is located in off of Martha's Vineyard. And then the second one was Summer on Sag Harbor, which I believe is in New York. And then this one, Summer in Highland Beach, is based off the Maryland beach. And so far, they have all been really great. And these are based off Black beaches, let me be clear. Which is very interesting because I had never heard of some of these Black beaches. I remember the movie Inkwell when I was younger, but I never knew about the one Sag Harbor or the one in Maryland. So anyway, let me read the synopsis for you and you can decide if it's something that you want to read and add to your TBR. So here we go. Founded in the late 1800s by the son of Frederick Douglass, Highland Beach along the Chesapeake Bay is the oldest Black resort community in America. Inside this proud and secluded beach community of about 100 private homes is Olivia Jones' legacy. But Olivia's legacy comes with thorns. Intertwined are secrets of her aunt's death, a controlling grandmother who is determined to crush anyone or anything that will interfere with her son's political career, and a father who wants to rebuild the family he rejected decades ago. In the midst of tense family drama, Olivia must decide if she wants to return to the beautiful life she's created in Sag Harbor with the neighbors and wonderful man who've become essential to her happiness, or finally achieve her dream of having a family and home to call her own in Highland Beach. A captivating, spirited novel, Summer on Highland Beach celebrates family, friendship, and community, and reminds us of the importance of the legacies of our collective past and finding one's way in the world. Yeah. So this book, because I remember I Googled this as well. They talk about, they say Frederick Douglass, his son was Charles Douglass, who founded it in 1893. It was originally established as a place where Black families could vacation and live without facing racial discrimination. And it became the first African-American municipality in Maryland in 1922. And also in this area, it features the Frederick Douglass Museum and Cultural Center located in the Twin Oaks house where Frederick Douglass once lived. So that's what it pulls up here online. But as you know, back in those days, African Americans we live a segregated life. And I think in this book, I remember starting it off and they talked about how I think they wanted to visit somewhere, and as Black people, they just were not welcomed. And so in this instance, Frederick Douglass's son, Charles Douglass, basically created his own community since they were not allowed to be in the white community. They were not invited, and They couldn't be in the community with them, so they created their own. So anyway, the book, it started off a little slow for me, if I'm gonna be honest about it. When I first started reading it, I was just kind of like, and maybe it's because I read the second book so long ago, but it took me a little while to get into the book. I would say maybe the third or fifth chapter, I kind of started to get pulled back in. As mentioned in the synopsis, this follows Olivia. If you read the series, you'll see how it all started, how it gives it a middle in the second book, and then this is the ending, I guess, since this is the third in the series, from Sunny. But it's following Olivia in this last book and focuses on her and her journey of reconnecting with her father that she never knew. And also, I would say, reconnecting with her mother, who she did know, but she showed up for her in a different way once she got older. Her mom, of course, like so many people, have been hurt in the past, and she had a wall up, and her wall being up, as we know, walls protect you, but they also block other things as well. And so in the book, it kind of shows where her mother had been closed off to her own daughter. Not purposely, but I think just life blows is what landed her there. So anyway, in this book, you see Olivia's journey, getting to know her mother again, her father, period, and even getting to know herself, because I think many times we don't realize the impact of our childhoods and how it affects us in our own relationships. And I like that as she fell in love with someone else, she began to recognize some of the traits that she had taken on from her own mother and was hiding behind and actually implementing in her relationship as well. And that's not who she wanted to be, honestly. And so it's a returning to self, getting to know oneself, and even getting to know her grandmother, her aunt that had passed away. She is getting to know a whole different side of herself that she was unaware of and that she did not grow up in. Now, I love too how Amma, who is her godmother, really shows up for her in the end, and she helps provide strategic advice on how she should handle certain things and the wisdom that she provides. I also love how her other, and they're not her sisters, but Amma as all three of their godmothers, I like their relationship and how they show up for her and help hold her accountable, but also is a safe space for her to be herself. So I think this is something that you would love to read. Like I said, I never had heard of this beach, but I was happy to learn about it and would definitely love to visit it one day if the opportunity presents itself, since there are not many homes there. So let me share a snippet here. That's the part we've already went over. And this is not necessarily about the book, but I liked the quote they added in here. It said, "Once you learn to read, you will forever be free." Yeah, that was a sign that was in the community there. What I thought was also interesting, Olivia has a grandmother on her father's side that she's getting to know, Christine. And I think it's interesting of how our parents, grandparents, ancestors, it's interesting how sometimes they will do things out of love and to protect us, but instead it is hurting us. And I think it's because sometimes they don't explain, which, you know, in our household, a lot of times is I am the adult, I'm the parent, you are the child, so they don't feel like they have to explain anything to us. But I think without the explanation, I think sometimes, like in the case of this book, you can feel like you're being ignored when really your parents trying to protect you, and that's why they are saying no to certain things, because they have experienced the thing that you're asking for, and they know the damage it can cause because they themselves have gone through it. But sometimes I think in our parents or our grandparents need to appear perfect, or they don't want to appear like, you know, problematic. They don't always share their entire stories with us, probably because they don't want to be judged. So I thought that was interesting in the book as Olivia was getting to know her grandmother Christine, and as Christine was sharing her story at the later part of the book and discussing Indigo, her daughter, she was trying to protect her daughter, and unfortunately, that's not how it was viewed, because no one knew the grandmother's story and what she had experienced in her youth. And instead, they labeled her as someone that was not lending a helping hand or not doing certain things because they felt like it was about status or hiding or embarrassment, when really it was about her own experience that she had had and her wanting to protect her family. So yes, if you're looking for a great summer read, pick this up. It was a great story, and it ended well. It was definitely a happy ending. The ending, I think I probably would have wanted some more for the ending. It felt a little rushed for me at the ending. I felt like they could have just added some more details around, you know, the ending with Olivia, but that's not what was done. So yes, I would definitely recommend to pick the book up though, because it was really great. It was a page turner. I got through it in less than a week, and I'm just not coming on to do a review. So yes, the next book I am reading right now is You Could Do Damage by Casey Mills. This book was recommended to me by Shaughnessy Schroeder. She has a YouTube channel here. Let me tell you a little bit about this book. Let me get into the synopsis. After I had coffee, my throat feels dry, so I have a little bit of water. Nari finds herself on the brink of homelessness after a crushing betrayal. Desperate for stability, she reluctantly agrees to an unconventional proposal from the attractive and enigmatic Kincaid Akale. Determined to reclaim his seat as heir of a dangerous criminal enterprise, Kincaid needs a wife to solidify his position, but he never expected his carefully selected bride to ignite such fierce desire. As Nari awakens feelings he long thought dead, Kincaid struggles to maintain control. Their entangled marriage of convenience quickly becomes a battleground of wills as Nari fights to protect her heart, even as she's irresistibly drawn to her dangerous new husband. As enemies close in from all sides and with both their hearts and lives on the line, Nari and Kincaid must decide if they can trust each other with their deepest secrets or if the very passion that binds them will ultimately be their downfall. So I am currently on page 135. So we are moving through this book very quickly. I took my son to his appointments this morning and I was turning the page, honey. It's a real page turner. So in this book, Nari, she is someone that grew up in foster care, and she found what she thought and who is her long lost cousin. And that cousin grew up with the family, and apparently Nari looks exactly like her mother, and her mother was forced to give her up for adoption because her mother was so young. So the crazy part is that another sibling had a child as well, but they were not forced to give their child up for adoption. So anyway, Nari gets to know her cousin. They both need a roommate, so she decides to move in with her, not knowing that her cousin is not a good person. She just thinks, oh, she's family. I have no family. I grew up in foster care. I'm gonna move in with her. I'm gonna make some money. I'm gonna stack it up, and then, blase, blase. Well, cousin did her wrong. Cousin, you know how you have someone you roommate with and you give them the money to pay the rent? Well, cousin did not pay the rent every time with the rent money that Nari was given to her. So all of a sudden they end up evicted, and it leaves Nari basically struggling to figure out where she's gonna go. She has a new club, a new job at a nightclub, or it's a nightclub. And so she had stashed some cash. Turns out her cousin has stolen the cash. It is gone. So that really sucks. And I won't tell you anything else because there'll be spoilers, but that's how the beginning starts off. And now she's met this guy, Kincaid, and I love the way he is stepping to her. I love the way he is making her feel special, especially since she's never really experienced love. Seems like she's experienced mostly somebody tolerating her, but not love. So let me read you a short passage here. It says, "You're my wife. It's my job to pour into you and ensure you're the best version of yourself. I pledged to do just that when I gave you my last name. You never have to thank me. It's my duty and my promise to you. So, yeah, I loved that passage only because I think sometimes that's not how people feel necessarily when they um, team up with you, when they decide to be with you. Some people, their desire is only to take and not to add to you. And then some people throw money at everything. And that's not the way to go either. But I like that his sense is to pour into you, and not just financially, but mentally. I want you to do well. I want you to be well because I am well. And if you're not well, it impacts me. You are me because we are married to each other. So I really liked that. I liked his concern for her well-being and how he wanted to protect her from certain things and cover her, but also wanted to teach her as well, because some people are just stingy with information and it's just not their thing. But anyway, the book is really good. I'm on page 135. I definitely think you should check this out. I'm not sure what all this is going to go into, but it seems really juicy. And I love the story so far of Kincaid and Nari as they get to know each other. Anyway, I hope you have an amazing Friday. I will talk to you guys again soon when I get through reading this book. Have an amazing day. Take care. Bye-bye.